We're starting video 203. Again, if you like the video, give it a like. If not, tell me what you don't like so I can fix it and get you a like next time. Only 10% of you actually engage with this. Click like. Click. You really have to not like it to not put a like. Anyway, 640. Who is this? MCore? Never heard of it. 640 zone is important to recover. Otherwise, you might drift lower towards 500. I'm not calling 500, but you have weakness. You have support at 540, 520, and 500. ET. Okay, those lines are still working. I said resistance and support, and they're still ping-ponging between the two. And it's at second support levels and resistance. So the lines, everything on the chart, I don't have to say a word. That's all still in play. Okay, so I'm going to assume this is Ether. Okay. I had conversations about the price of Ether, and I nailed it. So I'm pretty comfortable that my lines helped you trade this thing. Target 2, target 1 met, target 2 met, and that was the process. Well, I think they're going to do lower lows and lower highs. I mean, they're still selling rallies, no? Okay, so I'm going to copy paste. And not to tell you that this is the path. This is the shape they've been doing. Sell rallies. The next rally you get, if you were long at 25 for a trade, exit. If you're an investor in Ethereum, don't add here. Just let it go. If it bounces, you didn't need to add. If it goes lower, you add. You're in better shape. I own Ether. I'm not even looking at it. The only difference is I bought it at 1,000. So I'm okay. All of this is froth, but hey, we have a very volatile market, very emotional market. It can go lower. It doesn't have to. You can get started in Ether, nibble, as long as you're not taking more than 20%. Fortinet. We can trade this guy. It's so volatile. Big levels of support. This yellow thing is unfinished business. When I say area of interest, it means this candle here was unfinished. You do have support at 75, backup support all the way through 69 or 70, I should say, and back up to the backup, which is this. So if I'm selling puts or put spreads inside this yellow box, I'm fine. Even if it goes red on me, eventually it'll be fine for me. If you lose 75, you will probably get to 67. So I'll remind you by putting a line here. Now it's a thing, just like the other one. You don't want to lose it, because if you do, somewhere around this much or lower. Rallies, okay. The obvious, right? And there. Those are your problem areas and opportunities. Google, it's at all-time highs. What are you asking me? Honestly. So I just subscribed to Gemini 3. I like what they're trying to do. I think it's making my phone better. Like, me talking to my phone has been dumb as can be. It's regressed. But I added Gemini 3, my phone got better at answering me. But to use it as my AI engine, I can't stand the way it answers questions. I'd have to tell it otherwise. Anyway, Google is on rails. It's got a lot to fall if the market corrects. If you cannot conceive Google at 260, it is possible. It would be a bargain. It's a great company. It's at all-time highs. So it's still in denial. They're saying, yeah, this market, quote, downturn, even though we're still like 3% from an all-time high, oh, this will be in the rearview mirror. If the stock market is going to correct down to where I think it might, this won't be here. It will be lower. But it's a company's on rail. If I'm an investor, I don't even look at my portfolio. Just leave it. Goldman Sachs, I would short rallies. I wouldn't, but I would. So I shorted JP Morgan instead. And if you were in the live room, you saw it. I may have even sent it in writing. Goldman Sachs scares me from that perspective. So I can tell you they can try to push for a new high or be at 690 in the next 3 months. Those two scenarios are on the table. You have a lot of support at 740. If you lose it, I can guarantee you 690 almost. On the way up, struggle at 810, struggle at 830. And then if you clear 830, you might get to 860. Iron Condor might work. Home Despot. So this one worries me a lot, but it looks like it got a goose, 3% on Friday. This one has a lot of exposure to cash, like it's big money items, and the consumer spending too. So if we are headed into a consumer spending problem, this one's in the forefront, but it has given up a lot. So I can tell you rallies into 370. I would be shocked if it takes out 370. And 380 is flat out short, like a flat out, I would sell short. Support, it's testing the April support. That should be bulletproof. But if it's not, those are the arrows. It's still the same opportunity as the end of last year, middle of last year. So you see how pivotal those lines are. Let me rephrase. If you lose 320, you can probably go to 270. That's not my forecast. If you lose 320, you go down there. So manage your risk. If I'm long 100 shares and I only meant to be long 150, I would not add here. If I can add 100 shares and double them if it goes to 270, I would do that. It's in sell the rally mode. HIMS. You saw my warning on this one, right? So if I sold a put at 35, it's really red now, right? Okay. And my break even is 33. So I'd be praying they assign me. Because then if I wake up owning shares at 371, I sell the shares and I would have made 150 bucks. Because I collected $200 to be long, collected 220. So the stock can go 220 lower and I would still be winning or breaking even. So that's what I would do. Do nothing. Now you can even expedite that. So I've sometimes done that only if you know what you're doing. If I sold the put for December and I can move it closer to now to increase the odds of assignment, I sometimes would do it. Because if they assign you, they give you greens right away. But you have to be good with the math. Make sure you know what you're doing. And if I get assigned, all the losses that the sold put bring disappear. Like they never happened. If my position now is showing I'm down $600, 400% or whatever, the minute I get assigned shares, those negative, they disappear like they never happened. They are unrealized losses. Poof, gone. In return, you will have shares and the cash will be out and then you deal with it. So as far as the stock is concerned, look left. It's bottomed at 28 zone. So you're close to that level. I wouldn't add at this point. If I wanted to start now, I would sell a put in that zone in the 20s if I'm not long already. That stock scares me. I don't know why. It just scares me. It's too good of a story. Too vulnerable for regulation. Okay, Hood. Same comment as Coin. I like it now a lot better than before. I missed out on Hood. I'll tell you, I was assigned Hood in the low 20s, and I got rid of it in the mid to high 20s. No, check that. I got assigned in the mid-teens. And I hated it then because it didn't have as good a P&L then, and now they do. So now that they do have a good P&L, the stock is suffering. Anyway, it's falling into the blue box on the left. It should be support. If you lose that blue box, your next level is around 80, and I think it'll be bargain down there. I can't believe I'm saying these words. The price to sales here is 20. It's definitely not a bargain. 20 price to sales. That means if you're buying it now, you're giving it credit for 20 years. That's just a little bit cheaper than NVDA. 5 times cheaper than Palantir. Boom, boom, bish. I'm no longer a short Palantir. I got out with greens. Woo! Rallies at 124, 25, 28. Resistance. Support everywhere below, but not as hard line in the sand. Hershey's. Tom and I discussed this. This drop happened when the ubiquity of diet shots came out. They said, oh my gosh, people are going to be so skinny, sell Hershey's. I was like, you got it wrong. Buy more shares because people are going to eat more chocolate with the diet shots. So not an obvious point of entry. If I was long, I would exit. I would rebuy down in the 162. And it should have a lot of support. I don't think they'll break it because if they do, they'll go to 140. And it has too good of a P&L for that, I think. So yeah. If I traded it long for a trade, I'm out. If I'm an investor, there's nothing to do. IREN. Vertically integrated data center business. Ugh. Okay, another data center business. All right, I'll comment on the levels. 58, incredibly important. 58. 52, incredibly important. 46, incredibly important to recover. This one is easy. On the way down, there's no hard line. If I were to pick one, 34. The 34 zone, good support. So see how low they can go. In fact, this one did, remember earlier? Forgot what stock it was on the first video. I said, oh, we're drawing a head and shoulders. Well, this one already did. And they tried to recover the neckline. They couldn't. Okay, so it's not a head and shoulders. It's the same concept. I don't care what it's called. The downside, as long as they're below the white line, they're going to drift lower until they find a good support zone, and that's around 29, 28, 30, sub 30. So sell puts down there and walk away if you want. Coca-Cola, sell, 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 sell. Look at this. My God, this is the dumbest Wall Street on the planet, which is good for us. Oh my gosh. You remember us shorting Coca-Cola, right? Okay. It rallies on market fears. But is this an all-time high again? Oh, how did I miss this? Yes, this is a short exit. It's freaking Coca-Cola with this P&L. Outperforming NVIDIA. On what planet that makes sense? That pisses me off. This is Wall Street telling us, you're an idiot to our face. And here we are being idiots. Buying freaking Coca-Cola and selling NVIDIA. Very wrong concept. It's either that NVIDIA should be $4,000 a share or everything is going down a lot. So here's my take. The market is in denial. They still want a new high because of this. If they believed that we topped, they wouldn't be buying anything, let alone Coca-Cola. But they think they can park the money in safety trades while the market recovers. That's hope. That means they haven't put it in their head that, in fact, we may have topped. So they will try to buy the dip and make a higher high in the market. This is evidence. It's definitely an exit point. Kroger, same concept. Kroger, they buy it on safety, but something else started happening here. This one is a little bit more realistic. It is, look left, they're selling rallies for months. And that is another one we shorted, but it wasn't a high. So let's say they repeat performance from here to here. That's what they did last time, right there. So what I would do is just expect more downside, but you do have a lot of support. Anything below 64 have been bought hard. In fact, 64.50 or lower, you have a lot of support. But by the same token, anything above 68 looks darn near impossible. Now, if they can get to 68.50, maybe they push to 71. I honestly don't know if they can do it. 11 days earnings, maybe. Lamb. They have support scattered from here to 127, and they have backup support at 110. At 110. So if they don't get back to 153, they're probably drifting to 125. That'd be the mild way of saying it. If you don't get back to 153, you're probably drifting. I'll give you a visual split on that. It's actually a little bit lower, but let's go with that. Actually, yes, I'll do it here, and I'll tell you where it's shortable with a stop. Credit call spread. If it goes above here, I'll shoot one up there. 66 days until earnings. So has resistance, has support, but it can drift. Lululemon. Okay, so I think we're stuck in a credit put spread. I personally would take share and not defend it, but if I think it's down about $200 per contract. If it's just one contract, you can walk away and save $200 extra, or hang on to dear life and hope that it pops like it did for us on ISRG. There's earnings in 11 days. The earnings should be okay unless they tell a bad story, and then you'll have 100% loss on that one. So if it's a large position, I would shrink it for sure. If you lose 160, you open the door for 150. Meanwhile, you can rally to 176 and then face a lot of resistance. Like I would exit at 176. I would exit on spikes and take a small loss on that trade. As an investment for the long term, it's not so bad. It's just not great. So there is something I call the nuclear option, which is I get rid of my credit put spread and I lose. Let's say I lost $500. I would sell enough naked puts to exit the position, or get assigned shares in the low 100s. But you open risk. Meta has not found its footing. It's blemished for some reason, and it's one of those P&Ls that are out of this world. Last P&L was bad because they had some tax write-offs, not so much tax write-offs. A few companies, they weren't the only ones, the new rules hit them harder than other companies. One type of loss, they had an offset to it and it was denied. So they had to take, I think, whatever, billions. So their earnings, look at the number, goes from here to here because an accounting thing. So it is now inside of a very big support zone. So I wouldn't panic out of it. I would invest in it. I wouldn't sell naked puts unless I have that kind of account. And that even then I would have to be in the low 400s. Rallies are being sold. The support zone is from here to 500. I don't know what to tell you. If you have a specific question, let me know. If I'm long the stock for an investment, I'd be selling covered calls aggressively. If I expect 700 plus, I would need a really big headline from this company. I would use rallies to exit trades that are bad. MRVL should get a bounce. We'll try to get a bounce. 84 should be near impossible, that white line, to take over, to recover. And if you don't, your better support is around 64. You might drift there. 60, 70, and 64. If it goes below 61, I don't know what to say. That's also a lot of exposure to China and 9 days until their earnings report. Microsoft, I've heard of it. What do they do again? So like Meta, this is one of the best companies on the planet. Most stable income. Look at this P&L. Whew. Anyway, they hate it. 500 gets a death. 490, huge level, 490. Okay, this one is inside the August. So look at the earnings August reaction. Look at the earnings this time reaction. Tell me what kind of a world will it take to make Microsoft make another high? Imagine being the person chasing the quote headline. This is proof positive that if you chase headlines, you're always one headline behind, and it could be disastrous. Imagine buying the headline of, oh my God, or buying the headline. These people are going to be in that stock at that price for years. That's my statement. So if you are one of those people, manage your risks with a high degree of difficulty, like you need to be really good at it. And the problem is, look at this rally. There's no support, really. So you look left, I tell you 465 or lower is support. So I remember conversations, this is going to upset some people, when we were here before the correction of April, or here. And I said, it's not an obvious point of entry. Like, it's an okay investment over the long term. If the market is higher in the future, this one is definitely leading. I have no doubt about it. And I said it might give you entries in the low 300s. And I wasn't taken seriously. And here we go. They gave us 340 and 30. And down here, you can rest assured nobody was pounding the table. Buy. What did we do? We sold puts and put spreads on the way down because it's an awesome company. But people are easy longs here. Everybody's a bull here. Very few people are bulls here. That's the bullish guy. That's us. I'm super bullish Microsoft. I just want the right level for it. I'm waiting for it. This is a good nibble, but it's not a bargain by any stretch of the imagination. Let's double check that statement. I'll go to the statistics. Don't take my word for it. I'll go to an annual basis. Price to sales is 12. Okay, that's on the high side of things. It's not egregious, but it's on the high side. I don't even want to worry about the fact that its PE is 34, and that's on the high side as well. So it's not a bargain. Look how much lower it is, and it's still not a bargain. So how expensive was it up here? Okay, levels, 500, 490, difficult. You need to recover those. If not, you're drifting to a support zone that is not there. So if we go to the April super wide area, anything close to 400 is a neckline right there. You do have supports. 460 would be one. You do have support. 450, 440. Just nothing hard line. Okay. MSTR. Everything I said about coin, it's here on crack, the concept. This is so tied to Bitcoin, and this one is even worse than Bitcoin, because at the highs of this stock, at the highs of Bitcoin, the word is if you buy MSTR shares, you are paying double what price of Bitcoin is. The whole story of this one is they accumulate coins, right? So you're buying Bitcoin indirectly, but you're overpaying. So why would you do that? If you had bought Bitcoin, you would have lost less money. So that's the statement. And look at how they're selling it. If I bought it, I am not adding. Okay, so you could manage your risk that way. But if you think that this is a bottom, first of all, you look left and you see nothing. This is a target they should have done here. Instead, they did that because the April events. That's a good starting point. That was a breakout from October of 2024. It's a zone. So it could be here, it could be at 150, 140, maybe at 100. So I said sell a put, didn't I? In the worst possible time. This thing is a falling brick. And I said sell a put. If you want to own shares, you would make $1,000 to tell somebody, I'll buy your shares at 80. Actually, it's probably more now. That was the number back then. And some of you sold it at 70. We did that before. About a year ago, we sold a put at 75 and a put at 700. And they paid us $220, $300 for it. You can repeat that trade here, and I shared it in writing. Support zone, it's wide. It's approaching, but it's wide. It's anything between here and 100. So it's a falling knife, a falling machete, and that's the floor. There was a rumor that they're selling coins. The company denied it. So on the way up, 230 matters, 210, 260 zone. Okay, so if I bought it at 260 and it goes to 260 and I bought it as a trade, I would exit. Okay, if I bought it as an investment, I wouldn't do anything here. That's what happens when we buy investments in super active, frothy stocks. Frothy because they have no income. You completely rely on the price of Bitcoin, the wildest asset of all time. So when you buy MSTR shares all in, you put yourself in that position. You should prepare yourself with the stomach. It's not easy. So if maybe next time you decide, oh, I'm going to get out of these stocks eventually, they're not for me. MSTR is not for me. I can take crypto directly and have plenty of excitement there. Okay, this one, I have numbers. 216. Who is this? Oh, Micron. I'm short. I think I got out of my short this on Friday. I kind of screwed myself. I capped my profits, but I nailed it. So good P&L. It recently spiked a lot, 7 or 8% in one day, 6 to 8% in one day, on a headline that SNDK, I think, needed to raise prices 50%. So I said that's a mistake because my speculation is that if a company needs to raise price that much, it means its sourcing is in trouble and they're having to pay that much more for their stuff or they can't find it. In which case, the price hike is not going to result in more sales because you don't have enough of it. So you either sell 100 units at $10 or you sell 1,000 units at $1. You're going to end up in the same place. So anyway, you know what I mean? I did it backwards, but you get the point. It wouldn't increase the sales. So they took it as like, ooh, that's good for business. It is horrible for business that you need to jack up your prices 50% on your clients. It's if you ever ran a retail store or a business, that will put you out of business. Okay, 220 difficult, 228 difficult, 240 difficult. Those are the difficult zones. You see backup buyers, whatever, they didn't hold those purple lines. But now we're in a good support zone. It's not a coincidence that they bounced off of 192. Look left. So do I need to tell you that 192 is the line to watch? I was long a put at 200, and then I got smart and I sold a put at 200 as well, so it capped my profits. Anyway, 192 should be bulletproof support. If you lose it, you have backup bulletproof support at 175, 180. It's a good investment. The question is, trading-wise, you broke trend. Are they going to sell rallies? So if that's the case, it means it will never go above 236 this year or next. So watch the sell the rally mode, how deep it goes. This was a pretty important zone around 172. I wouldn't panic out of it. It's a good investment as long as they're consistent, but they're not. I'm going to warn you about this. I don't know if this is going to happen again, but it's happened before, so you guys need to pay attention. They won't tell you this out there. I'm telling you this because I have nothing to gain from steering you wrong. Look at how inconsistent the growth is per year. They're going 50% in 25, trailing 12 months. They did 60 in 24. They did, look how inconsistent their income stream is. I don't care what the reason are. It seems like every 4 years they go stupid. So you should know that these fundamentals might not last. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. They haven't in the past. NCLH. I don't like these businesses. Man, the devastation. So all of this was priced out. That's good. Now you're inside of a nice solid support zone here and lower. So if you're in a credit spread, you should stay in it. It's not too bad to do a credit spread. These guys are always in danger of having a headline, like a health scare, even before COVID. Oh, I said the word. Okay. YouTube still looks for that word. I don't know why. Anyway, let me stop them from taking my video down. The government did amazing things. They're awesome. Everything is so good. Everything is great. There, we clicked the algos. I'm not kidding. This happened before. Anyway, good business, solid management to have survived a test as big as that period of time. And I think they started to fix their balance sheets as well. So tradable for the long side. Those stocks have fans. I can't see a scenario where it'd be lower than 14. So consider that a bottom of sorts. If I bought it at 21, I wouldn't add any here. I would add lower. And I need to go in and cut that out of the video. That was a messy. What time is it? Is this video 3? Anyway. Okay, so the ServiceNow is one of those anointed stocks before. Pretty good P&L. Look how stable this P&L is. Look at how crazy the stock price is. That's just crazy. Why is it so volatile? Anyway, 925 or higher should be darn right impossible this year. If you get to 980, I would exit my longs, look left. There's a lot of sellers waiting. Meanwhile, they're struggling to get back above 900, and they need to, so they stay off of 700. If you lose this yellow big box, you're probably going to go to, I'm not going to say it, but it's much lower. You do not want to lose the yellow box. If you didn't hear a number, that's on purpose. It's more like 500. Okay. Good company. If I'm an investor, I just monitor how quickly I want to add to my positions, if at all. NVIDIA. You saw the numbers on NVIDIA. My goodness. So recently, what did I say about NVIDIA? I said I for 1,000% sure that the report is going to be mind-blowing, and it was. And I have no confidence as to how they want to bounce, except I said, I have a feeling he raised the bar too high. And I think they finally did the math and figured out what I said. The last headline before the earnings was, we have $500 billion in these two chips to come in 6 quarters. The headline was, they announced an order for $500 billion. That's the headline. So I said, I have a sneaky suspicion that they're going to be disappointed if he doesn't get an extra 40% in the next quarter. They're going to say, where's the money? So we got an extra $5 billion this quarter. So where's the rest? Then they figured it out. That's my suspicion. So his message was that these two chips should bring in $500 billion. Well, I'm saying they tell us the first chip and the second one is its replacement. The first chip is as good as 3 of the other ones that they're selling now. And the second chip is as good as 3 of the one they're going to replace 3. So the number of units will drop at an exponential rate, right? So the sales are not incremental. You will have sales, but it's going to eat away at the sales you already have now. So what happened is they bring in 4 to 5 billion extra every quarter, which is mind-blowing. Nobody does this. They're the only company that has been able to do this. Mind-blowing. They brought 10 this time, which is double. It's so huge, but it's not 500 piece of 6. So if you take 500 divided by 6, that was the expectation. It didn't get there. One second. Okay, I've lost my train of thought. Good company, awesome company, the best in the world, the best I've ever seen, and I think I will ever see. Temporary or not, I don't care. They kick ass. If you loved it at 200, you shouldn't hate it here. It can bounce. 190 would be a really, really good test. 190, 191 to be exact. And if you lose the lows from this week, you might end up in the mid 160s, which would be even better. If I'm long at 200, I am not adding here. That's probably an important statement. I think you would have an, let's walk through both scenarios. If you're long and you add here and then it bounces, what did you do? Nothing. You used up a bullet. If you're long and you didn't add and it goes lower and then you add, what did you do? You made your position better. So if you're long and you add and it goes lower, you just doubled your problem for nothing. We're not that much far from the high. So there's nothing to do except to nibble long. If you missed out the whole rally, there's your opportunity. If the stock market is higher in the future, this one is too. I've said something in the past. The market is NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the market, and that is true. So there is a scenario that brings NVIDIA to 150. I can walk you through it, but we don't have enough time. That's not my forecast. I'm saying there is a scenario out there. The moons and stars have to align for NVIDIA to be at 150. If that's the case, we've probably erased every neckline there is in the stock market itself. So they're tied at the hip. So watch my video by tomorrow morning or next week as to what the SPX can do. Oracle, I was 100% right about that. Great company, total respect, .com dinosaur, that's a good thing. And then they got roped into this circle jerk of AI with their partnership with OpenAI. That was a terrible deal. Anyway, so the earnings reaction was so stupid, 40%. This was almost double the reaction to NVIDIA when it actually brought 40% more business. And this one just didn't bring anything. It just said, we're so busy. That's all it said. But Wall Street worded it differently. They said they have this much business. Yeah, but they had it anyway. They just told us we're going to be this busy for a long time. It's like Boeing. So then, yes, it's a slam dunk business, but they rallied 40% on it. And I said it's shortable. I got short and I got under pressure. And I got paid 100% on my short. I would not be long this company because now I believe, do your homework, it has negative free cash flow. I don't know what that means for this company this size at this point. I don't know what their commitments look like. I don't know what's off balance sheet, whatever. Do your homework. It's a great company to own. I wouldn't panic out of my shares, but I wouldn't add to my shares yet if I'm long. And if I chased it up here, I might be stuck up here forever. for a decade maybe. I'm just saying. I wouldn't add here. So if I bought up there, I definitely wouldn't add here. I'm very certain of that fact. I would add at a disaster scenario to make my position normal. Let's say I bought at 310 and I don't add here and it goes to 110 and I add, and now I'm long somewhere around the 200. That's a normal position. That's way better. I wouldn't add here. If I have a sold put, I'd roll it down and out so I don't get assigned. It wouldn't cost me anything. Baseline, anything below this level should be bulletproof support if this market is going to continue on higher. And it's a good company. That's the good thing here. Okay. All right. That is video 2.